Hi, hey everyone. So today we're gonna do a February recap because it is already March 4th, a Wednesday. The month of February, not a lot of things have happened because the month was so short. A few things I did do. I signed up for two marathons. I signed up for a half marathon and a full marathon. The half marathon will be in May, and then the full one will be in October. So we've started training for both of them. So we've been running every morning. Mind you, I am not a runner. I'm not a runner at all. Me and my body, we don't run. Everyone knows that we don't run. But I originally was like, I just want to do a half marathon. It was on my bingo card, my New Year's bingo card. And my friend was also thinking of doing a marathon. So we both signed up for the half marathon. And I didn't realize marathon prices were so expensive to first get into a marathon. I thought they would have been at least like $50, but they were around like 130 each. And so he was like, "Hey, the marathon prices are about to go up." My original plan was to do the half marathon, see if I can do 14 miles, and then do the full marathon. My friend was like, "Hey, so I'm just gonna sign up for both." I felt bad because I didn't want him to do the marathon by himself alone. So I'm doing the marathon with him, which is how we got into this position. I think I started running like around like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Waking up like early in the morning at the crack of dawn to go running is a choice. And at first I hated it, to be honest. I really hated it. I hate running. It's just like so boring. But I realized I think running at a gym or like running on a treadmill at a gym is boring, but running outside is actually very nice. Like feeling the cold air just rush past against me as I'm running and seeing kind of the sunrise starting to the sun slowly starting to come over the mountains, the sun color changing or the sky color changing to basically day. It's actually kind of very beautiful and stunning and gorgeous. So slowly but surely I've been enjoying running, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. So the current book that I'm reading, the author is Maya Angelou. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I've never actually read any of her novels or poems or any books that she's done. It's in high school people were reading it, and I was kind of curious to see why they were reading it, and so I kind of just picked up the book at Barnes and Noble. And so far it's an autobiography of her life, and the way she speaks about her life and the way she portrays a picture is very beautiful. For example, this is from Maya. Weekdays revolved on a sameness wheel. They turned into themselves so steadily and inevitably that each seemed to be the original of yesterday's rough draft. Saturdays, however, always broke the mold and dared to be different. So even a small paragraph like that talking about how weekdays are kind of like mundane and just very similar. She kind of made it like she painted the picture very beautifully. Like weekdays revolved on a sameness wheel. Like that to me, it like flows off the tongue really nicely and it was very easy to read. And there's also very small moments like that in the book where I'm inspired to kind of like write like that or like at least talk like her. There's a lot of like metaphors that she like brings into and like paints a picture, and so I kind of want to improve that aspect of my expression of words because the way I express my sentences and my words is very straightforward. And I don't mind straightforwardness. I just sometimes want to, decorate my sentences a little bit, make it a little bit pretty. And then there was one section of the book, Maya, where she talks about she meets a lady, and I believe her name is Mrs. Flowers, and she talks about how words on paper is very different from an actual person speaking about the word. And so this is what she says. Your grandmother, which is Maya's mother, says you read a lot, every chance you get. That's good, but not good enough. Words mean more than what it is set down on paper. It takes a human's voice to infuse them with the shades of deeper meaning. And then she talks about so she says, I memorized the part about the human voice infusing word. It seems so valid and poetic, which I agree. She says she was going to give me some books and that I'm not only must read them. I must read them aloud. She suggested that I try to make a sentence sound in as many different ways as possible. So I'm trying to do that with this book where I've been reading the sentences aloud so I can kind of get a different cadence of how I can say a sentence. And so overall, this book has been very insightful and very inspiring. I just want to, I'm very curious to see what her other novels are like. But so far, each like chapter that I've read has been pretty smooth sailing. It's been a little bit easy to read. I'm about like three-fourths done, so I'm very excited to finish this. And then my next book is about haikus because I have a small interest in haiku, so I think reading more about the haiku and like going more in depth about them will be very interesting. So I've been trying to be very more poetic with my word choices and my word dictation and just seeing how that goes and seeing if that change will fit with me. And then my current art project that I'm still working on, I'm discovering a lot of aspects about my creative process. So whenever I think I make something, I I have a sketchbook that has like a ton of ideas, and in theory, they're just all ideas. They're still in my head right here, and they haven't really gone out of my sketchbook into the physical world. I think what I'm trying to work on is that like transference between my idea that's in my headspace right here, that's not physical, and then into the physical world. And that I think is what I'm having struggling with because I can spend a lot of time here brainstorming, pre-planning, all of that like fun, just like all the what ifs, all the could has, all the color choices, all the lines, and all the stuff that I'm just basically here the whole time. And then once I actually get over to like the physical making of something, I get stuck because all the things that I've basically planned for in this area doesn't really transfer well once it's executed. So I'm struggling on the execution is what I'm realizing. And I'm glad I realized it now. I'm very happy that I realized it now, but I just had the thought recently of, damn, I wish I realized this sooner. Because there's so many ideas that I want to do, and I spent so much time just planning it. But I think planning in a way is kind of pro- procrastinating a little bit, and I think that idea has hit me finally. Of I just kind of just gotta make it, because I feel like once the transference happens of the idea being in a non-physical realm into the physical realm, there still will be problems in the execution that you just won't be able to think of when you're planning a project. So my goal for the end of this month from March is to basically just finish the project that I'm working on, because that was originally my goal for February, but I was planning so much of it in February I didn't get to finish the piece that I'm working on. So that will be my March goal, and then hopefully I think the way I'm gonna approach this is I'm gonna finish the painting, I'm gonna finish the piece, see what works, and then maybe do a different rendition of it and see how that goes. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. March has been a little bit of a rough start. I think we had a blood moon recently, or a full moon, or a red some moon. We had, let me look this up actually. Oh, we had a total lunar eclipse yesterday, March 3rd. And just this week and last week in general, there just has been so much like inconsistency, a little bit of chaos, and just a lot of things that are not adding up. Usually, like I'm messing up at work and I'm falling more asleep, and the things that I've been doing habitually has I haven't been doing them, and so I'm kind of glad the lunar eclipse is over. I think I'm still feeling the effects of the eclipse. February was a fun time, and I'm excited for March. March is gonna be the month of a lot more changes, and I'm gonna put more action to my words. And so you'll be seeing a lot of things in motion rather than me speaking about it. I feel like me speaking about what I want is also another form of procrastination, so I'm just gonna zip my lips and actually do the stuff that I'm planning to do. And so we'll see how that goes. This Saturn's return is teaching me a lot about trial and error, and it's gonna be a lot of changes I'm gonna try to work out and see what works for me, and we'll see how that looks. So until then, bye.